Hey folks, welcome back to my humble little shop. For this video, sharing my knowledge, experience, I'm going to talk about tool posts, these guys, and tool holders. There's a lot of different kind of tool posts. They're very important to any lathe, which one you use. So, hope you learned something. See you next time. Alright, so I'll bring the camera up a teeny bit. I wanted to make rings out of coins, quarters, nickels, and stuff, what I was doing. And I was manually filing the center out after I did the outside of it. And I thought, if I had a lathe, that would be a lot easier. So I looked around, went to Harbor Freight, bought their lathe, bought all the cutters that they had, and so on. Come home with it, put everything together, try to turn something, and no luck at all. Alright, what am I doing wrong? Called a machinist friend of mine over, looks at everything, and the first thing he does is he says three things. First, this is not a cutter yet. This is a blank. You have to put an edge on this thing using something that can deal with carbide. Oh. Alright, well, I decided I'm not going to use any of these, so they all went giving away. Bought the indexable insert set, which I'll show in a bit. I didn't know anything about carbide back then. I was thinking, okay, it's probably going to get dull, and I'm going to keep having to resharpen it. Inserts, I can just keep changing them as needed. Second thing, he says this tool post is way off rotational center. You have to shim your inserts, so I hope you have some shims or something, and you have to put them, the cutting edge, on rotational center. So you have to figure out where rotational center is for your machine. Oh, okay. And he says, I've seen this tool post on just about every mini lathe there is on the market, and I don't know why. I later did try figuring out what goes in here to put it on rotational center. I bought some dial indicators and some different methods, but I figured out where the center was and tried to shim. It's like, no man, it's way off. So I finally said, forget it. I am not going to use this tool post. Okay, so I'm not going to use that tool post. And boy, it would have been nice if somebody at Harbor Freight would have given me a heads up on that before I put in $700 for the lathe, mini lathe, and then probably another 50 in assorted cutters that I'm not going to use. So I went back on Harbor Freight online and found this tool post. Nice. Comes with two cutter holders, I guess you call them that. Which way does this go? It goes this way. Great. It had some hokey height adjustment things, so I started machining my own little pieces so I could just drop them in. And I hated having Allens and other things around to work with, so I made these, and I can just tighten it, and I'm done. I'm ready to machine. It's in there. This side too, if I wanted to do boring or something. I mean, it came with a boring holder, 1/2 inch. I think that was 1/2 inch, but it might have been metric. But again, then I started making them out of aluminum rather than steel. But the problem was you couldn't find more tool holders. So I started making my own. It's not difficult. 60 degrees, I think that is. I had a mill. Started banging them out. No problem. So there it is. And then somebody said, oh, you can't use aluminum. It's not sturdy enough. You need to use steel. Oh, right. If the force is high enough that this is going to get tweaked or something, it's a mini lathe. Your gib and gib screws are going to give out first. So I've been using aluminum for over 10 years. They're fine, they're nice and solid, they still work, they still tighten up really good. Actually, I did a better job of the slot thing, of the dovetail, than these are. These are looser. So, oh, it's moving. Yeah, I didn't tighten it all the way. There. Now it's tight. But you couldn't find more holders anyplace. And, you know, why are you selling this when you're really limited? You know, it came with a knurling tool too, but I don't use that because it's just too much force on the compound. Again, it's a mini lathe. It can't take a whole lot of force. This is starting to oxidize. I should take these apart and clean them up with something. But okay, so I have this tool post. It's still used today on my first lathe. And finding out what you have to go through from that machinist friend, I can now see why you can find mini lathes on Craigslist a dime a dozen. And that's how I got my second one. The guy, I'm sure, bought it, didn't have a machinist friend or anybody to tell him what to do. Oh yeah, the third thing was, he grabbed the compound and he says, it's rocking. Until your compound is rock solid and your saddle does not move, you do not have a lathe. He says, I'll be happy to take the compound off, take it back to the shop, run it on a surface grinder and get it perfection. And he did that for me, and I got it back and like, okay, perfect. So now I can set my tools on rotational center. I can change them without extra tools. I have plenty of different holders for boring bars, for this, that, cut-off tools. I have a scissor, knurl, everything that works on this lathe. All right, move the camera again a little bit, yeah. Okay, so now you know that this tool post is a joke. You'd have to have a huge assortment of shims for different tools, and trying to put a boring bar in that thing after years worth of experience and learning, figuring out things, good luck. And now you know this is a blank. So if you don't have a grinder capable of working with carbide, they do get dull, but boy, they're tough. Forget it, getting that. You know what I use now on my first lathe, and that you got to make your own stuff. So yeah, figuring this stuff out, I realized, yeah, go on Craigslist. I found another Harbor Freight lathe. I think it was $200. Perfect. Walked in there. The guy didn't know who I was, so he was probably thinking he's ripping me off because he didn't have a machinist friend to tell him what to do. This is the tool post that was on it. I said, all I want to know is that it runs. Plug it in, turn it on. And it ran. I said, perfect, I'll take it. And he's handing me, this is where this came from. He had probably 20 of these things. He's handing me all of his cutters, his machine, aluminum, plastics, everything under the sun. This tool post and 2 holders came with it. Now, this is an AXA holder. I forgot who it was made by, but they're no longer available. So there's AXA, A2Z, oh, this is by A2Z. Yeah, it's an AXA tool holder made by A2Z, and that company is no longer around. But back then you could buy these on Amazon. They're around $30, and now they're well over $100. But I know I modified this one because it had a hex head cap screw bolt on it that you used an Allen. When you tightened it down, you couldn't rotate it and you couldn't move this to change the tool. So I had made a modification to it, so now I can lock this down but still change the tool. And another guy, hobbyist starting up, asked me if I would do that mod for him because he didn't have all the stuff necessary to do it. He bought it off Amazon, had it shipped to me, I modified it, and then shipped it directly to him. But nowadays, I mean, there's AXA, BXAs, there's all kinds of numbers on Amazon. Those are for bigger machines. This, I think they call it an OXA now, which is this type. There is a type all over Amazon where like a gib thing comes out to grab the tool holder, and they're pretty, and I think they're over $100 too. And everybody says, oh, you have to have that because of the strength. Again, it's a mini lathe. It doesn't matter. So I think this is an OXA. It's small. It goes on a mini lathe. All the other ones are for bigger machines with large swing. What is swing? A lot of people don't know that. You go to buy a lathe and it'll say, okay, this one has a 12-inch swing. What that means is it's a 12-inch diameter material. The biggest material that you can put in the chuck, turn, and machine. So if you want to know the distance from the center of the chuck to the bed, cut that in half. You want the radius, is what it is. So that's the definition of swing. So yeah, the same thing. It came with 2 tool holders. Started my new stuff here. Nylon insert lock nuts, thumb screws so I get more surface on this, more solid height adjustments. And again, they're kind of expensive. I think, well, probably now they're even more, but back then they were like $25-30 each. So no problem, started making my own. Again, very easy. You're just kind of cutting a groove with a dovetail in it. And this is the 3/8 inserts that I was talking about. This one's carbide. This is specifically for aluminum. It gives me an incredible finish. Put them in the comparator stand. Indicator sits on the tip. I can set the height precisely with it. So I don't know. I see a lot of people with the wedge type holders. I don't see any problems with this. I've run this one on my second lathe for years and years with aluminum. Not a problem. Oh, this is for the other machine. Yeah, some of them too. You notice this is a lot shorter. Is it shorter than that? No. Is that no? Okay, it's just shorter because that's what works on this tool post. So all in all, I like this the best because I lock it. I can put my tool in here. What angle do I want it at? I rotate it, lock it down, then I lock the tool holder down. I'm done. I'm machining. Want to change it for a chamfer, loosen it up, put this on it. I'm at height, lock it down, go machine. So I have all kinds of holders here for boring bars, parting tools. I have 2 different types of parting tools. One that's a little bit bigger than 3/8, and then I've got the regular blade type. I mean, it just goes on and on. So this, to me, is the best. If you get the wedge type with that thing that comes out, you're not going to be machining. I looked at it because I was considering getting one. You can't make the tool holders. I mean, it's a nightmare, the angles and different things that you have to do. So look at that. These are, I think, called 250-000. You look for that or make your own. And on Amazon, I know it's over $100, but I think it's called an OXA. It looks like it from the dimensions and stuff. And you may have to do the mod like I did, be able to do this.